It's a question I often encounter in the online martial arts forums, possibly because people still want to believe that there's some single magical approach to martial arts that will guarantee their success in any situation. So we'll take a look at various opinions on what makes Jeet Kune Do effective and see if we can't come up with some kind of ultimate decision on this topic. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 112. This is the one about what makes Jeet Kune Do effective. I'm well, not a few, I'm like half an hour early. I misjudged a timing of something that I have to pay attention to, so I had to come on early. So Bob Landers is here. Bob Landers, you're hilarious. Dusty Gerald is here from Indiana. Steve Juman. Hey, Pedro Rodriguez, Terry Valor, and Carla Carla Arce. Good to see you. It's always fun when Carla is on. Okay, so as you guys are logging in, you know the deal. Say where you're logging in from and hit the like button, and feel free to continue doing so. All right, let's get to this. What makes Jeet Kune Do effective? Well, there are people who think that or seem to think that the magic comes from the fact that since Jeet Kune Do is based on the idea of, and this is a direct quote, using what works and discarding what doesn't, that in and of itself immediately lends to effectiveness. So I'm gonna go through some answers from other people, and then closing out, we'll get to my take on it. So one answer was, by borrowing from multiple styles and approaches, JKD could be considered one of the early ancestors of mixed martial arts. So I guess that's implying that since the advent of MMA and the UFC, we've been able to measure the effectiveness of any art based on its appearance or its use in combat sports competitions, right? So another answer was, JKD is effective. You'll see a recurring theme. JKD is effective because it takes what works from various arts and puts it together. So you are not stuck with a traditional style that only does one thing one way. You get a mix of different things that work, and you have a lot more options. Now dig this. The more techniques you know, the better you can respond, since you know what to do in every situation. I continue. Another answer said, Jeet Kune Do is effective because it is not a style, but rather an attitude that martial arts techniques should be approached with a scientific mindset, put to the test by sparring, and personalized for one's own use. Gyms or teachers that advertise Jeet Kune Do classes are typically just teaching Wing Chun, which was Bruce Lee's first and main style. But Jeet Kune Do is not Wing Chun, nor karate, nor MMA. It is an attitude that can be applied to any or all of those martial arts. And still another was, this guy was more succinct. Speed is what makes Jeet Kune Do effective. Speed is the sum of reaction time and economy of motion. If you block and then punch in response to a punch, then this is not economy of motion. Practitioners of JKD move, punch, and block at the same time, as this reduces the time and movements to strike your attacker. Reaction time is improved through drills and mostly through free sparring. Drills are only necessary to perfect the motion, but free sparring allows the practitioners to respond effectively in any situation. Which brings us then to the most sophisticated of the answers, where this person kind of honed in on several physical elements of JKD. So in his answer, this is what makes Jeet Kune Do effective. The stance, footwork, center line, economy of motion, the leading straight punch, low kicks, simultaneous offense and defense, stop hits, the 4 ranges of combat, and realism. And his breakdown of realism is techniques taught and practiced should be realistic in terms of effectiveness in real battle situations. Lead disdain flowery styles that might look good, but be relatively useless in a real fight. So, as you can see, the people out there seem to have grasped an essential idea of Jeet Kune Do, some more so than others, but they still don't have all the pieces. So in answering the question, I ask people to keep in mind that it's really never the art itself. I mean, Jeet Kune Do by itself out there without people training in it is not effective. It is how the art is trained and applied by the martial artists. So that being said, when Bruce Lee started formulating his ideas into what ultimately became the art and philosophy of Jeet Kune Do, he made a significant break from the current, at that time, the current ways of training by insisting on training realistically and practically. So that's why the JKD clan was an early adopter. We were actually talking about this just in last night's class. The JKD clan was an early adopter of the use of striking equipment, like the kick and shield, the heavy bag, the focus mitts, and the use of boxing gloves in martial art training. And Bruce Lee also placed quite, as some of these people said, placed a heavy emphasis on sparring as a way of determining what techniques worked for a particular individual. And so really, it boils down to something you've heard me say before: train the way you'll fight. This is why Bruce Lee opted to train more like a boxer, with an emphasis on cardiovascular conditioning, realistic technique drilling on the equipment, not like you see some of these morons with the focus mitts on the internet now. The way they're training focus mitts, ridiculous. And then that's another topic for another time. And then sparring as the crucible. So this is all commonplace today, but if you cast your mind back 40 years ago or whatever, then it was pretty revolutionary. So the thing is, as long as JKD people, those open-minded people, if they keep working hard on following and applying these and other central Jeet Kune Do training principles and guidelines, then the art will continue to be effective, because the practitioners of the art are seeking primarily efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, so what do you think? All right, that's it. Feel free, share, like, comment, ask questions if you want. I'll review everything after posting later this evening or tomorrow, because I gotta go run this errand. All right, sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook, and please subscribe over on the YouTube for the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast, for the Jeet Kune Do dialogues, and for the FMA files. And when you subscribe over there, make sure to hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. ilovejeetkundo.com. Quick Skills Series Volume 1 available. Volume 2 will be produced in 2020. Coming up this Friday, January 31st, Jeet Kune Do Dialogues episode. We're going across the pond with Steve Mosley. You can find him at Bruce Lee is the Only Dragon on Facebook. It's such a cool Bruce Lee fan site. So that'll be Friday, and I'm pretty sure it's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Today is an Indigo Day. There you go. I like that. Kick to the face, right? And I'll see some of you on Friday. The rest of you I'll see back here next Wednesday for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye now.
You stand kind of unique because one thing is to really go against the grain. Okay? Now, most martial art, even boxing, the power we show you the ray. Okay? It's the ray cross, the most powerful punching. Okay? And most kung fu karate, everything from the ray hand here. There's a power. You can put the power up front. Put the power up front. That's why the stand designed for using power of one. Okay? Now, the reason is saying, well, you Filipino, you kick the front hand, you punch from front hand and kick the front leg, no power. Okay? But if you add the football pure, understand the leverage, okay, understand alignment, okay, you can get a lot of power. Okay? If you look into the formula for power, okay, what? I'm not a physicist or whatever, but only take two elements in the formula. Is what? Mass times speed. Okay? Speed of force. Right? What's the mass? It's your body weight. Now if you can move your body, you can enhance your force. Right? And if you increase the speed, you can also actually the impact. Right? That's why you can move your body the correct way, in the right alignment. Okay? You can increase your force tremendously, even though you hit with the front end of it. Besides, that's why the footwork is so important. The stand is to really work with the footwork. Okay? The stand is to give you the proper alignment. The stand is already aligned before you can even throw a punch. All right? So the alignment is important here. Alignment. Just recently, if you read our newsletter, okay? John Little, he went through Bruce's library one evening. He opened a book. He said, pick out one book, nothing particular. We call it concentration book. Okay? How to master your concentration. You just flip over the page. It's one kind of empty page. Okay, only take a few lines on the top. A lot of empty space there. So this is Bruce Lee written down in pencil. Okay? And he asked himself, question: what is Jeet Kune? What is Jeet Kune? He go ahead and answer. Footwork, stand, coordination, alignment. That's on the top of the list. Okay? That's a Jeet Kune. We want to know what's Jeet Kune. So that page been hidden away for so long, for all to see it. And all to see a practicing footwork. Even in JKD, I said, what's most important? I don't realize that until years later. Footwork is the key. I said right there, 20-some years ago, in the hidden page. But you go back to, I forgot what issue is that. I think it's the second or third issue. And it's the hidden passage. What is Jeet Kune? Okay? It's a footwork, stand, alignment, and coordination. Okay? Alignment is really give you the power. Therefore, the stand is important. Once you have proper stand, you put into alignment right away. So when you hit, when you strike, it's right there. Right? So now, this is not a boxing step. Boxing step not this way. Okay? This is not even a boxing stand. So right here, it's everything lined up. Alignment is important. From here to shoulder back here, to form one solid straight line here. All right? And here, the back here is supported right here. Okay, just like you find a rifle here. Okay, you don't find a rifle like this here, right? Do you? You go to the army to get ready to fight. It's right here. A triangle here, like this here. When you hit, that give a proper support. The same here, when you throw a punch here, give a proper support. Okay? So it means right here. Okay, I can punch here, right here. Okay? Right here. Alright? So for every action, there's equal opposite reaction. Right? You punch, will come back to you. Alright? That's why the stand is the powerful stand. So you don't really need a lot of power, a lot of energy to get better power. Okay? So that's why another really philosophy you can really spend less and get more. Okay? So I exert less energy and still achieve the maximum power. Okay? If the stance not your right, okay, let's open up a little bit here. Just open a little bit here. And turn a bit here like this here. Okay, like a boxing jab, okay? You see right here, you're not going to put support, right? So just alter a little bit and make it different, right? So you can really, when you throw a punch here instantly, you get power. You get instant power because they all line up, all right? The stance for designed for the purpose. That's why I understand why doing this in front here, right? Now, let me give you the final point of punching, right? Never move the feet first, right? That's why the Jeet Kune punching is so difficult to learn. To me, the Jeet Kune front hand lead has been the most difficult in JKD. No one else punch like this, like in boxing. Okay? And actually, all this here coming from Pencak idea. That's why Bruce Lee really based on his art later on based on Pencak boxing. Okay? Look at the wrestling. The hand have to move first. Okay? The power come off from the footwork. The major power of the footwork. The push off here. What off from the ground, go back to the ground. Okay? Now, if you move the feet first, what happens here? You will land first. Okay? You move the feet first here, you will land first before you punch get there. Because your power go back to the ground. This is very important procedure here. Because of this.
Hi, this is Matt Newmark here from jkdnewsletter.com, and I am here by the good graces of Tim Tackett and obviously his assistant Jeremy Lynch, and we're going to just get into the first video lesson. So Tim, thank you very much for having us here, and Jeremy, thank you as well.
Okay. Straight blast. A lot of confusion about straight blast, because in reality, when I was learning JKD, Bruce was still alive, and there was actually 5 straight blasts that we learned. And a lot of this comes from Bob Bremer, because he spent a lot of time with Bruce on Sundays. The idea is that when you see the straight blast, it's usually shoulders square, and it's like that, which is actually a Wing Chun straight blast. Nothing wrong with that, but it's a question of distance. What Bob wanted to do, what Bruce told Bob, is you're in close, and you want to get the proper distance for the straight lead punch, which is a full snapping punch out this way. And instead of this, Bruce told Bob that with a straight lead punch, it's a little bit better. He learned out right before he left from Hong Kong. And this gave a little bit more structure to the punch, and you could hit with the middle knuckles instead of the bottom 2 knuckles. So if you lay your fist up here, you'll see that in a vertical punch, you'll see that the little knuckles there. If you turn it this way, you'll see the little knuckle isn't there anymore. Mainly hitting with the middle 2 knuckles. So what Bruce told Bob Bremer, when you're in tight and you want to get the distance, you want to hit with what he called a shorty, which would be the Wing Chun one. And then once you have this distance for the 2-inch penetration of the straight lead or straight rear punch, you want to go from there. So one of the basic ideas, so the first two of the straight blasts are the Wing Chun straight blast, which is shoulder square. Now, we're only going to do that to gain the distance. So once I want a 2-inch penetration on each punch, so it snaps like that. I don't want to push it here. So the shoulders, 1, 2. Now, that should give him enough distance so when he moves back, I can go this way. So instead of, although there's nothing wrong with doing a real quick straight blast, what you want is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that should pretty much handle the situation. If it doesn't, if you can't end the fight with that, you probably picked the wrong opponent. So those are the first 2 straight blasts. The next straight blast is actually, Jeremy can demonstrate that with Nyun, and that would be the boxing blast. Once you've hurt him, then you kill him. Okay, so the idea is, once you have intercepted and you've hurt him, if you see Bruce Lee punching the heavy bag in the backyard footage, people say, oh, he's not covering, he's not covering. He wasn't intended, because what he's really doing, he's already hurt the guy. The guy's out, he's just finished. He's working on what's called finishing moves. So the guy's already dazed, he's going to finish it. That's called the boxing blast. So we could, let's say that Nyun comes in and Jeremy does a straight lead punch. After that, he would finish it off with boxing blast. So Nyun would set up different things. Or hooks. you do is you set up where you intercept, and then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to then follow up, and he'll do different kinds of things to follow up. Our main idea, what we want to get more than anything else, is a few things done well. So we really focus a lot on power on kicking and power on punching. The fourth blast is actually a back fist blast. So if I was to throw a back fist, boom, here, I would come here with the second one, which would then set up a lopsal. So it wouldn't matter what lead he's in, none of that really matters. I throw a fist and he does it, that boom, right there, okay? We're going to explain in the next little short lesson why none of this really works against Jeet Kune Do, okay? Once somebody really has to get JKD right, this stuff doesn't exactly... Progressive indirect attack is well, I'm kind of going off target right here, but let's say Jeremy punches low, and I block here, and then he goes, oh, progressive indirect attack, so he feints, and I go here, and he goes there, or if I block with this hand, he goes with that hand. Okay, very good, interesting. But what happens if he actually does that punch? I'm just going to intercept him. Okay, anytime it comes with a hand attack, boom, you just break his leg. So once you put the JKD as your opponent, a lot of stuff doesn't work. Okay, so anytime you're learning something, try to go, what is this person, what can he do to me while I'm doing that? He can stop kick, he can stop hit, he can shoot and take you down. That's why it's very important to just don't go out there and start punching somebody. So the back fist blast, get back to that. If he is a blocker, progressive indirect attack will work against a blocker or a runner. This is actually single direct attack, and then I throw the second back fist to trap the arm, okay? And it could be a series of back fists. The fifth straight blast that Bruce worked on was a sliding leverage blast, and that was just used to learn to get more of a fighting spirit, so that when Jeremy punches, I go here, he punches, I go, you just drive him right into the wall, okay? I don't want to drive him into my garage door, though. So simply, when he punches, you just drive him, just like that. So those are the 5 straight blasts. Thus endeth lesson 1.